Good afternoon to everyone, and thank you so much for joining in today. My name is Attorney Renante P. Sulit. I am a registered migration agent here in Australia with MARA number 1382407. I am here in Melbourne, so in our national office, as you can see, it's 6:15 in the afternoon. However, the sun is still shining because it's summer. So our main office is here in Melbourne, and we have been operating. I've been practicing migration law for more than a decade. Imagine it's like 12 years already, and it seems like yesterday. And I'm very happy to tell you that we are here in Collins Street. No, whenever you visit Australia, especially Melbourne, so you may visit us at level 7, 470 Collins Street. And you may find my details at www.mara.gov.au. So uh, that's the certificate, no? So you may find my details of being a registered migration agent in omara.gov.au because that is the regulatory body of all migration agents here in Australia. And once if for example you are dealing with a registered migration agent, you have to know the number. And my number is MARN 1382407. I have been in practice for more than a decade, and I choose medical professionals aside from engineers, ITs, and other skills in the skilled occupational list. I would like I I highly specialize in medical professionals, nursing, midwifery, doctors, dentists, rad tech, med tech, all of them here in Australia because I love doing it. It's very challenging. Aside from RPS National Office here in Melbourne, so we do have our satellites offices in Brisbane as well as in Sydney, and we do have RPS Dubai, no, and we have their Miss Ina, and we have their Sir Romeo, and of course we do have RPS Singapore. So we have their Miss Jill and Miss Burns. No, hi, how are you? No, in Singapore, and of course in the Philippines. Our main office in the Philippines is in Centuria Medical Makati. It's just beside Trump Tower in Makati. It's level 16 A and B. So you will see their RPS migration services. And of course, we have RPS Davao, RPS Iloilo, RPS Batangas, RPS Baguio, and RPS Zamboanga. Aside from RPS migration services, I also own Australian certified trainers that is in charge of the training of all the examinations for medical professionals, whether it is for NCLEX, either whether it is for OSCE or MRPE for RadTech, and all other and all other examinations. We are still conceptualizing our OSCE or our clinical for the physiotherapist, no, and also for the dentist, and also for the doctors. So it's part of the pipeline. But today we are going to discuss the newest announcement of APRA on January 27, 2025 that shocks the nursing world or the medical professionals world because it um, it has far-reaching effects, and this is all about the registration standard. They revised the registration standard of medical professional, and in so for us, no, nursing and midwives are concerned, they added two pathways for the registration standards for internationally qualified nurses and midwives. Right, so that is very important. But before that, no, since I gave you a brief background of RPS Migration Services, I would like also to give you a brief background of how to become a registered nurse here in Australia. No? So that is the first discussion that we have for today. How can you become a registered nurse in Australia? What are the pathways that are available for internationally qualified nurses? So I'm going to give you first the different options, and then later on I'm going to concentrate on the change. Now I'm going to discuss the change and its effects to your registration. So many nurses are like viewing my TikTok. My God, my TikTok is like viral, and they are asking several questions. And how can I do this? How can I do that? That's why I I opted to have this live session so that I can answer all those questions. Now, what are the different pathways of registration in Australia? So number one is that here in Australia, no, we do have our university pathway. No, that's very common. That your overseas qualifications will be converted to Australian qualifications by having a bachelor degree or taking master's degree, and that will lead to APRA registration. APRA is the regulatory body of health professionals here in Australia, and one of which is the NMBA board that regulates nursing and midwives. No, there are several boards. APRA is composed of several boards, one of which is the NMBA. So, say for example, an internationally qualified nurse will come here and study through a subclass 500 student visa. Then the qualifications gained overseas will be converted to Australian qualifications once Bachelor of Nursing or Masters of Nursing is finished. Sometimes they give the recognition of prior learning. It's the RPL, or the transfer. That's what you say. No, sometimes they give the credit transfer. Instead of taking it for 3 years, they are taking it for 1 year only. And here in Melbourne, Victoria, no, here in Victoria, which is the education capital of Australia, many universities are doing that. Say, for example, Deakin University, um, Federation University, and other universities, La Trobe University. But other universities are giving 2 year courses, not 2 year course for bachelor degree. And sometimes, or in New South Wales, I think it's all 2 year course, no, in New South Wales. But in Perth, in Western Australia, there are universities that offer 1 year. No, in South Australia, there are universities that offer 1 year and offer 2 years. No, but master's degree is always 2 years or less than 2 years, like 18 months. Okay. Now, so that is the university pathway. However, that is not the focus of our discussion for today. I'm just giving you the pathways. No? Number two pathway. This is very, this is very exciting. The Trans-Tasman recognition. The Trans-Tasman recognition means that there is there are certain professions here in Australia and in New Zealand that enjoy the Trans-Tasman, a mutual recognition of between the two countries, because that is a law that certain professions are given that mutual recognition. If you are registered, for example, in New Zealand, you can also be registered here in Australia, and vice versa. So that means to say that the nurses from New Zealand can also be nurses here in Australia, and vice versa. So now, since I have been more than a decade. I've been assisting nurses for more than a decade. I have seen, no, I have seen the changes. I have seen the movement no, of the movement of nurses and the changes of the program. Now, prior, no, I say prior July 1, 2024, nurses from Singapore, nurses from UK, Ireland, and other jurisdictions use Trans-Tasman. Before they can use the Trans-Tasman, they have to be registered in New Zealand first. So what? Because the level of health standard, no, the standard of health in Singapore, UK, Ireland, no, is the same with New Zealand. That's why what they did before was they are applying for registration in New Zealand. And before the process, the assessment was carried out by CGFNS. That's why they applied in CGFNS. This is a third-party organization that is located in the US. So they send all the requirements there. For example, their international criminal history check, their transcript of records, school documents, employment, everything. So, and then the CGFNS is assessing the candidate. Once the candidate has been assessed, CGFNS will refer the application to Nursing Council of New Zealand, and Nursing Council of New Zealand will register. For example, they uh, they already they already comply. They already comply with the requirements, so they are going to register the candidate as a registered nurse in NZ, no, NZRN, and then from that moment on, you can transfer. Now you can use Trans-Tasman. So from mutual recognition, you will have now the Trans-Tasman from New Zealand to Australia, right? And that's what and Singapore nurses used before OET and IELTS only, because Nursing Council of New Zealand never accepts PTE. So that's the struggle of nurses from Singapore, right? So sometimes they are doing OET, first sitting, second sitting, third sitting, fourth sitting. So there is a struggle. As you can see, this makes sense later because I'm going to present to you the findings, no, of the findings of the review. So the cost, the length of time, the effort, no, it's so onerous, and it eats a lot of time for our internationally qualified nurses, and those nurses from UK and those nurses from Ireland, no, never had to give a never had to show the English proficiency, because they had their English proficiency once they registered in UK and in Ireland. So what they did the CGFNS and the CGFNS sent their qualifications, the referral to Nursing Council of New Zealand, and then after getting the registration in New Zealand, then they do the Trans-Tasman in Australia, and then they are transferring here. That was before. Okay, that was before. In July 1, 2024, Nursing Council of New Zealand changed everything. Those nurses from Singapore, those nurses from UK, those nurses from Ireland have to do the CA, which is the CA, the competence assessment, meaning to say they have to do the MCQ and they have to do the OSCE in New Zealand. No, so it's a bit. So our nurses, no, were worried because they sat their OSCE already in UK, in Ireland, no, and then they have to be subjected again for the OSCE in New Zealand. So that's why there was a slowdown. There was a decrease in in the number of nurses applying in New Zealand. Now, they cannot apply directly to Australia because they are going to be subjected to outcomes-based assessment, which is ACAN, which is the same with competence assessment, the outcomes-based assessment, right? Now, so that is the second pathway. So now it's out of the game already. Now, what what APRA what APRA did in March 2020 was they launched the outcomes based assessment, right? The outcomes based assessment is the newest approach of APRA in assessing internationally qualified nurses. It is composed of theoretical examination and the clinical examination. The theoretical examination is the NCLEX and the clinical examination is the OSCE. No? So once you pass these examinations, then you will become a registered nurse, provided, of course, all other requirements have been complied with. For example, English proficiency, international criminal history check, so on and so forth. So once you pass these two examinations, then you will become a registered nurse here in Australia. I have several clients from UK who transferred here in Australia. They did again the OSCE and they pass. No, so that's prior. That's the situation today. No? So there are three pathways. Number one, university pathway. Number two is the mutual Trans-Tasman is still ongoing for New Zealand and Australia, but the mutual recognition of Singapore, UK, and Ireland to New Zealand, there is it's not happening anymore, and the outcomes based assessment. So basically, we have three pathways in order to become a registered nurse here in Australia. Now, there is an announcement. No, there was an announcement from APRA with regard to registration standards. Now, by the way, I would like to also give you a background that before the OBA, there was the bridging course. No, there was the bridging course before, and then they abrogated. No, they deleted and they abandoned. No, they abandoned bridging course, and what they are doing now is the outcomes based assessment. And in the outcomes based assessment, basically there are three streams, correct? So for those of you who are nurses who have been reading a lot, there are three there are three streams here in Australia. Number one is stream A, number two is stream B, and number three is stream C. Stream A is substantially equivalent. That is the operating words. Your qualification is substantially equivalent, meaning to say, if it's substantially equivalent, therefore you will have your registration right away, no? Subject to compliance of other requirements like international criminal history check, for example, the recency of practice, so on and so forth. Now comes stream B. Who are stream B? These are the internationally qualified nurses who have relevant, professionally relevant, but not substantially equivalent. So, meaning to say that you have the relevant qualifications, but it's not substantially equivalent. That's why you will be referred to outcomes based assessment. The two examinations, one is theoretical and one is the clinical. So once you pass these two examination together with the English test and other requirements, your qualifications will now become professionally relevant and substantially equivalent. That's why it will lead to registration. Not unless you cure that substantially equivalent phrase, you will never be registered. So you have to cure that, and the way to cure it is to pass these two examinations. Now, what is Stream C? Stream C, not relevant, not equivalent, not relevant, not equivalent. So at least they are, so those in Stream C will either do the bachelor degree. Say, for example, you have diploma of nursing. Diploma of nursing, that is not relevant, that is not equivalent. So therefore, you have to do the bachelor degree. Now, many nurses from the Philippines, from India, from Thailand, from Myanmar, from Vietnam, from Nepal, from Sri Lanka, from Colombia, from European countries except UK and Ireland and Spain, no? So, and all others, Greece, and all others have this relevant but not substantially equivalent. That's why there is the outcomes based assessment. Now, come this, no? Come January 27, 2025, APRA has released an announcement, no? Has released an announcement, and I would like to read that announcement to you. It says, streamlined pathway for registration for internationally qualified nurses. January 27, 2025. Workforce pressures across Australia. Health services could be eased with the introduction of a new streamlined registration process for eligible internationally qualified registered nurses. Okay, so the key points here is that the new registration standard, general registration for internationally qualified nurses, offers two additional pathways. So I'm going to share this one to you. Key points. The new registration standard, General Registration for International Qualified Nurses, IQRN, offers two additional pathways for eligible IQRNs to register in Australia. The standard is expected to assist in alleviating workforce pressures across Australia's health, aged care, and primary care sectors by increasing the supply of safe, experienced, and qualified registered nurses. The additional pathways recognize the experience of IQRNs who have practiced for at least 1,800 hours in the NMBA approved comparable jurisdiction, including the United Kingdom, Ireland, United States, Canada, provinces of Colombia and Ontario, Singapore, and Spain. So the initiative aligns with the recommendations of the final report of the independent review of Australia's regulatory settings relating to overseas health practitioner. To the stage. Okay, so that was the announcement of APRA. And what does it mean? So it means to say that in the registration standards of APRA, they are inserting two pathways more. So remember, in streamlined pathway B, so there is the relevant and but not substantially equivalent. So they are going to OBA. Now it is different. In stream pathway B, there will be two more branches. It's pathway 1 and pathway 2. So, what is pathway 1 for this? So, this is for those nurses who have substantially equivalent qualifications gained in the comparable jurisdictions. And which are the comparable jurisdictions? Say, for example, United Kingdom, United States, Ireland, Spain, provinces of Colombia and Ontario in Canada, and Singapore. So meaning, if you finished, if you gained gained your qualifications in these countries, then you are satisfying pathway 1, and you have 1,800 hours of practice, no? And much more, you have the following criteria. So the relevant qualification obtained in those jurisdiction led to general registration as a registered nurse, no? And you have completed the assessment by way of completing 1,800 hours since January 1, 2017, and a statement from your employer that you have a satisfactory assessment. And of course, with a criminal history check, with a continuing professional development, English language skill, recency of practice, and the professional indemnity insurance. So that is pathway 1. So who are the examples of this? No? So those those candidates who studied in those jurisdiction. Okay, so majority of Filipinos, majority of Indians, and other Asians are not in that pathway, right? Now, let's look at pathway number 2. Pathway number 2 means that you have the qualifications you have a relevant qualifications not obtained in those comparable jurisdiction since January 1, 2017. It is very important to know the reckoning date, January 1, 2017. Now, and successful completion of a regulatory process for internationally qualified nurses. I am going to share this one again to you so that you can see that registration standard. By the way, this is the advanced copy, no? This is not yet the original copy because this will take effect on April 2025. Now, let's have a look at this. Pathway number 2, internationally qualified registered nurse applying under pathway 2 must demonstrate and provide evidence of the following. Number 1, qualification requirements. So what are the qualification requirements? Should be a relevant qualification not obtained in any of the NMBA approved comparable jurisdictions since January 1, 2017. So that means to say you have a relevant qualification and you did not obtain that from Spain, from Singapore, from UK, from Ireland, from British Columbia, and Ontario. Okay, so more likely that you gained your relevant qualification from the Philippines, from India, from Sri Lanka, and other jurisdictions, and they are not comparable. Okay, so therefore you have a relevant qualification, and you can see here there is the word and and successful completion of a regulatory examination process for internationally qualified registered nurse. So meaning to say that you underwent examination. Say for example in Singapore, how did you become a registered nurse in Singapore? So you took the examination, right? How about in UK? How did you become a registered nurse in UK? So you did the CBT and thereafter you did the OSCE. So that is the successful completion of a regulatory examination because that is sanctioned by the nursing council of those jurisdiction. So therefore, you satisfy the first criteria. Now, and you have also the competency requirements, successful completion. So it's a repetition of B, right? And then of course you have to satisfy as well all other requirements such as your general registration is still ongoing, it's current, and you were registered, also you have practiced 1,800 hours. Someone asked me, how many is 1,800 hours? I think it's a year, because if you divide it by 52 weeks, it's about 36 hours, and you are working only for 36 hours a week, right? And if you multiply it by a year, 52 weeks, you will come up with 1,800 hours. And it can be that 1 year, no, can be gained in the last 5 years, meeting the requirements of the following approved registration standards: the criminal history check, the continuing professional development, the English language skills, the recency of practice, and the professional indemnity insurance. So, meaning to say, all right. So, meaning to say that most of internationally qualified nurses are in pathway number two again. So, if you are from UK, from Ireland, from Spain, British Columbia, and Ontario of Canada, and Singapore, you will be in pathway 2. No, stream B, pathway 2, and then you will have you can apply direct. So what's the difference, no? What's now the advantage? This is very exciting. Before before, nurses from Singapore cannot use PTE, right? In New Zealand. Now they can use PTE here in Australia. And for the English requirements, you can have a combination of at least two. And Australia, come April 2025, will lower the English requirements. So for the English requirements, you only have 66 an average for PTE, and then for the writing you can have 56. Okay, so and you can have the two sittings, provided the gap from one sitting, the earlier sitting to the latest sitting, is not more than 12 months. Get it? So it's only two sittings. It can never be three. It can never be four. Only two sittings. For IELTS, all seven, if writing is 6.5, it is acceptable. Also, you can combine the IELTS, not IELTS to PTE, because sometimes nurses are very creative. They are asking me, sir, can I combine the IELTS to PTE? OMG, no? So we cannot combine that. For you have to combine IELTS to IELTS, PTE to PTE. But in my clients, most of my clients are doing the PTE. No, there is TOEFL, there is a Cambridge, and all other tests. But the prominent ones, no, are IELTS and PTE. And APRA will be lowering, no, will be lowering the standard, the English proficiency, come April 2025. I'm telling you that. Okay? Not today, but April 2025. Now, how about nurses from the UK and Ireland and Spain? So no, not Spain, UK and Ireland, the English speaking, the English speaking countries. So, say for example, if they had their English requirement before, and it is already expired, it's more than 2 years, because the validity of English requirement for registration purposes is 2 years only. What if your original English requirement already expired, but you are already working in UK when it expired? That is acceptable. Okay? That is acceptable. So when you apply to APRA, you are not going to show the English requirement anymore, because you had your English proficiency when you applied for your original registration in UK and Ireland. However, it expired. But when it expired, you are already working in an English speaking country. Get it? Well done. Now, how about people or international qualified nurses in how about international qualified nurses in Spain? So I suggest, in my opinion, they have to sit for Pearson test of English because it is not an English speaking country. So that is one of the uh, analysis that we have, right? So you will be under pathway 2, and come April 2025, there will be a lot of applications in APRA. And why did we have this? No, why APRA announced this? Because it's part of the independent review. No, the the government asked, no, the government asked how we can improve the situation and how to attract many nurses, and that is one way of attracting many nurses because they want to streamline, to simplify, because according to the records, according to the review, the process is on the rules. The process is very expensive. For a nurse to become a nurse in Australia, you need 7,000 and 4,000, 11,000, something like that. But if you become a registered nurse in Singapore and all other jurisdiction, it is cheaper. No? And they are now attracting experienced nurses. So what will happen? Those nurses from UK, those nurses from Ireland, Singapore, they are coming to Australia anytime soon to become a registered nurse. No? So let me see. Let me share with you some of the findings. No? So here, the key message from this review is that removing unnecessary regulatory barriers, no, to improve care, no, to Australian. Okay. This is the expedited pathways, no, for registration to all professions. But for this purpose, no, for this seminar, I am concentrating on nurses and midwives. This independent review has the whole profession, medical professions. Now, what will happen now, right? So New Zealand, UK, Ireland are now going to like, oh, what's happening? Australia has made this change, and this will affect us. Our nurses will be transferring to Australia, not to mention that in Australia, you have a higher pay rates, no? That is given. Now, RPS Migration Services comes in. Why? Because we have the fast track registration to residency. Aside from becoming a registered nurse, I will assist you in getting your residency. Why? Come to think of it. Say, for example, you are working, in Singapore, Spain, UK, Ireland, no? British Columbia, and Ontario. You are working. You become a registered nurse here in Australia. You did it yourself. So I am now a registered nurse. Now, your challenge would be, why am I not getting why I am not getting the job? No? Say, for example, you have your upper registration, but you cannot find a job. That is very common now. I have been receiving a lot. And that is the answer of RPS. I will make you an immigrant because once you are a registered nurse here in Australia, it opens a lot of opportunities for you. You are not going to resign yet in your in that jurisdiction because we are going to process your residency. Imagine in less than 6 months, according to APRA, no, In less than 6 months, according to APRA, you will become a registered nurse in Australia. So for example, the UK, apply to APRA right away. No, maybe in just less than 3 months, you will become a registered nurse. However, what if you cannot find a job? That is where fast track registration to residency comes in, because I can process your residency while you are working in UK, Ireland, Singapore, Spain, wherever. And you are waiting for your residency from your original station. You don't need a job offer. You don't need a show money. You don't need a job in order to apply for residency here in Australia. Once you become a registered nurse here in Australia, we can apply for residency. That's why most of my nurses from the UK are getting their residency while they are working in UK. So once they come here, for example, for a holiday, they are using their residency visa. Once you come in, it is valid for 5 years. Therefore, you can build your portfolio first. For example, so I can go for example, I can apply in any hospitals because I don't need a sponsor because I am a permanent resident. If you are a permanent resident, then you are one of us. You can apply for the job without any sponsor at all. You can choose wherever you work. Sometimes you can work through an agency. Say, for example, we have so many agencies here in Australia. You enlist yourself to an agency, and then, for example, you are working in Royal Children's Hospital, Royal Melbourne Hospital, Avenue Hospital, Alfred Hospital, and then you are building your portfolio. No, you are building your portfolio, and then once that hospital likes you, then they will observe you. That's how it goes here in Australia. If, for example, you didn't get a job, apply for residency right away, and RPS Migration can do it fast for you. That's why we do have fast track registration to residency. That's why this is very exciting. And you need a person, no? You need a registered migration agent who knows what to do, no, with insofar as medical professionals, no, are concerned. Now, what else? So for residency, how fast is that? So it's about 9 months, no, minimum, according from our experience, 9 months minimum. And it is becoming cheaper because that's what the goal of the government, to attract highly qualified nurses. Remember, highly qualified, because you have been working in those jurisdiction, no, for 1800 hours, and then you are registered there, then you are transferring here, therefore the pay rate is higher. Remember, I have so many nurses from UK and Ireland. They are here already. They own their houses already. They are now citizens. Because here, to become a citizen, you need 4 years of stay. You can go in and out, no? And then you will become an Australian citizen. So if you, for example, if you want to transfer here in Australia, you have to do it fast, no? Because this will not last long, I think. So you know my WhatsApp number, right? So it's +61 415 831 158. If you are going to WhatsApp me, and there is a auto answer, I will notice if you have already messaged me, because there is an auto reply there, and then we can start, no, we can start. I will discuss with you the fees are very minimal. Your registration in APRA, so it's in the website of APRA. And of course, I will send you the code for migration skills assessment, the cost of the visa. And you're not going to pay the cost of the visa right away, because that will be paid when you get invited. For the residency, it's a points-based system. So you have the skills assessment. After the skills assessment, you have the EOI invitation, and then lodgement of the visa. Sometimes our clients get 186. It's about sponsored visa right away, permanent resident, no? And they have as well the relocation, no? The relocation fee. Sometimes you get a relocation fee. So they're so lucky. I have one, um, Gino Abelia, no? Gino Abelia, I haven't seen Gino and the rest of the family yet, but they are now here in Australia. Um, they are in Geelong. Another one is Carlene Vergabera, no, just recently, um, and they are already here. So for those of you who would like to transfer, so you don't need to resign yet um, from your stations. Wait for your residency while you are working. One of the problems of nurses in Singapore is this COE. Remember when you are doing the whole like Trans Tasman everything, it's like my God, it's very confusing. Most of the nurses from Singapore cannot get the certificate of employment, no? And of course, the certificate of good standing. That is where we come in, no? And we can suggest, no, what to do. Let me see some of your questions. Okay, ayan. So I'm going to read all your questions. All right. How long will the processor? So, insofar as registration is concerned, it's less than 6 months. I think it will just be less than 3 months for registration from the UK. No, because you already have your English test. For Singapore nurses, take PTE right away. No, take PTE right away. At RPS Migration, we provide free PTE review. So as early as now, engage RPS, message me, and then I talk to you. No, if not now, maybe tomorrow. So I will have a session with you so that we can do it. Now to FOFU. Can enrolled nurse from Singapore also qualify? It's substantially no, because this is RN, no? RN. So if you are, for example, not qualified for this and you are a registered nurse somewhere, for example, from the Philippines, RN from the Philippines, EN in Singapore, go for OBA because you will be stream B, relevant but not substantially equivalent because the level of skill is not skill level 1. All right. So you will be under OBA. Do not worry for OBA because RPS Migration has Australian certified trainers, the best here in Australia for the OSCE, no? And we are very proud of it. No, we are very proud of Australian certified trainers. It's the training is very intensive, it's very comprehensive, and tomorrow we are going to open the new batch for February because this new pathway from UK, Ireland, and from Singapore and Spain. This is only a minute, a small, no, a small number of nurses. Most of the number of nurses go for OBA, no. Okay, Charlene Escabas. Hi, sir. May I ask regarding the relevant qualifications not obtained in MBA since how about those graduated in 2000, 2016? You will also qualify because that January 1, 2017, meaning to say that from that moment on, whether you gained your experience, whether you gained your experience, your qualifications before or experience, the reckoning point will be January 1, 2017. And that is the criteria of APRA. It doesn't say that you have to graduate in 2017, meaning to say you are 28 years old by now. So it's very restrictive and very discriminatory, right? So since 2017, the reckoning point, for example, from today, I'm going to accept all those nurses with these qualifications. Okay, so that's the meaning of it. Because in January 1, 2017, that's the only time. That's the only time that UK, Ireland, Singapore, Spain have the same level of health standards. Very confusing, isn't it? Okay, so I hope I answered that. From Chic, Charlene Escabas. Okay, saan ba si, where are you from? Chic Han, hi po sir, late na nakawatch ng live niyo po. What if may OET po ako, ano po require na score? Okay, for the OET, all B, no? All B. So, the combination is also applicable. Let me see. Let me double check for the OET. For the C, if they are going to um accept the C for the writing, okay? So for the OET and a minimum score in C in one of the component writing, there you go. Since they lower the English proficiency, if writing is C, that can be used, provided that it is 2 years, 2 years. If you are using a combination, two combinations only, and the gap from earlier seating to second seating is not more than 12 months. So 12 months and below. Okay. Okay. Where's that? See, if you are asking questions, all right, so I can answer that. Sir, do I need to keep my Philippine license active or just UK registration? So that's a very good question. So you have to get it active. It's very easy. It's very easy. You have to go online because you are practicing in UK. You can have someone in PRC. No, it's very good to have both registration active. All right, do not so that it will be easy. Currently working, sir, in KSA. All right. NCLEX passer po. May OET na din po ako in speaking. Okay. Ito. This is good. Thank you very much for that question. If you are just an NCLEX passer and you are USRN and you have not practiced in US, you are not qualified for this fast track, for this streamline. You will undergo OBA. Okay? So, you have to remember that 1,800 hours is very important, because if they are not going to put that 1,800 hours, all NCLEX passers will apply. So those NCLEX passers who haven't practiced in the US for 1,800 hours, they will undergo OBA, the outcomes-based assessment. And do not worry, RPS and ACT can help you. Hello po, how to apply? How to apply for what? Hi po, any age limit. Okay, very good. To FOFU, any age limit. This is very important, guys. You ask questions, you think of questions, I can answer all your questions. For migration purposes, you must be less than 45 years old the moment I lodge the visa application. For registration purposes, there is no age limit. So what's the difference? What's the importance? For example, you can be an OFW here. However, if you are less than 45, then you can apply for residency. But wait, there is more. Okay. According to this independent review, they are considering to raise the age again to 55. Remember, 8 years ago when I was starting, the age limit for migration is 55 here. Now, they are considering to have that broaden the age exemption on skilled visas to enable skilled practitioners in acknowledged areas of shortage to permanently move to Australia. So meaning to say, guys, for registered nurse and midwives, because you are the skilled practitioners, right? Acknowledged areas. They want to broaden the exemption, and the expected impacts would be raising the age cap to 55 could lead to additional 4,500 experienced practitioners gaining registration over 5 years. So therefore, if I were you, if you were 49, if you are 49 now, I would go for registration, because any moment soon, if this materialize, you are already registered, and you are not going to wait for uh to do it again. Okay, you are doing something 55. That's the last discount. It will happen. Okay, it's part of the what they call this, a recommendation. Let me see. Lucille Pescuela, hello po. Okay. Pwede po ba isama yung family for application for PR? Okay, right. So yes, you can include your family, immediate family only. Say your husband or your wife and your kids. That is the immediate family. You can include them, the member of the family, all members of the family should be healthy. There should be no medical condition. RPS Migration is very particular on that. Okay, so that's why it's very easy. It's very convenient for you if you are being handled by a registered migration agent, because if something is wrong in your application, so it's very stressful. Okay, so and let me handle that stress for you. Okay, right. Jericho Miles Di Makulangan. Do you have any UK branch, sir? No. So I don't intend to. No, I have a connection in UK, but we can do online anyway. You see, we can do. I can. You can talk to me from my office to UK, right? So if you have any question, you can WhatsApp me, because the having physical office overseas is a thing of the past after pandemic. So we can use the online thing, as long as you know that you are talking to a registered migration agent and you have, okay, so I don't need to, because that's part of the expense. Okay, Jericho Miles de Makulangan, so hopefully you consider this, ano, so that you can. Yes po. Okay. Hello, Sir Jet. Yep. Hello, good morning po. Which comes first po, the process to APRA or the PR? Okay, good. So maybe the process would be your registration. As I said, registration opens the following options. One is working visa, next is residency visa, and all other visa. Okay? You must first be registered. Okay. Saan po ang Jericho, saan po ang UK? Wala nga akong branch sa UK. You can talk to me directly through the internet. Hello, sir, Marie. I am waiting for my permanent residency here in the UK, and then I will apply. You can apply while waiting. No, you can do both. How much is the processing fee for PR process? That's a very good question. Message me in my WhatsApp so that I can assess whether you are qualified or not. Okay? So that I can discuss with you what are the government fees and what is the processing fee. Okay? Ronaline Makayan. Good PM, sir. How about you are an enrolled nurse in 2015 and then upgraded as a registered nurse in 2023? You are qualified because it's 2023 already. Okay, so as long as you have 1,800 hours the moment we apply, okay, it's 2025 already, so you have more than 1,800. John Resulta, hello. Marie, hi sir, I'm waiting for, okay. How long it will take me to get there? To get here, minimum of 9 months from your registration, minimum, okay. So you can still work there and wait for for your residency. That's the beauty of it. How about, sir, with ongoing application in APRA and ready to sit for MCQ under OBA pathway? All right. If you are from UK, so you might wait for April 2025, make another portal. Sherlyn, thanks sir. Welcome from Singapore po. Already SGRN po pala. Sheila, will message you po in WhatsApp. Okay. There you go. You message me, I think. Jessa May. Okay, Jessamy Romeo. Sir, what if we finish the upper registration and wanted to resign and go home to PH? Is it still okay to apply for permanent for migration? And I want it won't affect the migration process. No. So that's the good thing about um Australia. As as long as you are a registered nurse in applying for residency, you don't need to be employed, you don't need to be uh you don't need to have a show money, okay? So that won't affect your your application. Hello po sir, paano po kung may petition na sa US pero gusto mo na mag-work sa US kasi tagal pa ng PD ko? So, anong gagawin natin? Paano kung may petition na sa US pero gusto mo na mag-work sa US kasi tagal pa ng PD? What's PD? So you may work for in the US and then once you have 1,800 hours, then you can apply sa Australia. May ID po kayo how much ang process ng registration sa RN, APRA? Mura lang, no? Nasa website. It's like I think 410. It's like the self-check. It won't it won't be big. It's less than 500. Sir, means sir PT exam lang po sa SGRN then assist na po ng RPS. Yes, we provide as well the free PTE review. Doesn't harm. Next. Hello sir, may APRA registration na po ako. Okay, and for OSCE na lang kaso di ko tinuloy. Pwede pa kaya? May petition na rin ako sa US eh. Okay, Catherine Tandingan. And for OSCE na lang. What do you mean upper registration? You mean already registered nurse? Or you have a referral and then you're going to do the OSCE? Maybe you are referring to a letter and then you're going to sit for the OSCE, right? I think that's what you mean. So you may sit for your OSCE. You may sit for your OSCE because even if you have NCLEX, you haven't practiced in the US. No? So if you practice in the US for 1,800 hours, then you can waive the OSCE. No? Autoimmune disease with history of stroke can still apply. You can still apply. Okay. I finished my BSN in Philippines back in 2012. Currently working RNSG for 7 years. Okay, you are qualified. I would like to know whether anyone with a current petition for the NHS chooses to process her OBA pathway. Since the NCLEX test is included in step 4 process, you will move straight on. So you would like to know whether anyone with a current petition for the US chooses to process so many. Okay? Since the NCLEX is excluded in step 4. So many of my nurses are actually waiting for their US petition and they are now registered nurse here. It will not harm you. So you can wait for your petition here in Australia instead. Na? Step 5. Mental health. So mental health nursing. Thank you, Michael. Michael Ariola. Mental disability, mental, and that's that referral. Okay. So thank you so much. All right, guys, that is a very fruitful discussion with you and interaction with you. So I am going to do live more often here in our channel. So if you would like the assistance of RPS migration for fast track registration to residency, you may WhatsApp me at +61 415 831 158 because we can make it faster and we can do it fast. We can do it right. Okay, and say for example. Um, you are confused, you don't know what to do, then you may WhatsApp us and then we can assist you. And of course, I am also promoting our Australian certified trainers. If you are doing the OSCE, so do it at Australian certified trainers. I will be in Dubai in third week of February, and I will be in UK and Ireland first week of March. So see you. And for those of you who want to start right away, you may WhatsApp me and then I can refer you to our case officer or I can have a conversation with you. So thank you so much, guys, for your attendance for today. I'm very happy. This is your registered migration agent, Attorney Renan Tepi. Sulit with Mara number 138-2407 kay RPS. Sulit ang bisa mo.